The natural segue is us to go straight into space exploration, but we're going to save that for the back half of this cut. I figure that you're looking stuff up on Google as we speak, so you can sound really smart about space exploration. Hey, first off, I'm meaning to ask you this, because we hung out in Vegas for a couple nights, lots of fun. It was real. It wasn't real fun, as Luke Mulliner would say. The one night, I owe you, by the way.
Yeah, what did you do?
No, don't go there. He's a goof. What in Vegas tipping? Both of you guys, I'll ask you this. It seems to get a little out of control. Do you need to tip the guy that tells the cabbie we're going to the airport and opens the door for you? Do you need to tip that guy?
You're supposed to.
Why?
It's ridiculous.
Why are you supposed to?
And just so you know, the cabs in Vegas, first time I've ever seen this in my life, the tipping, because I usually take Ubers, but in Vegas it's a lot easier from the airport, just jump in a taxi. Anyway, 25% is this, they give you options. Starts at 25%, 30, 35% other. I'm usually not interested in taking the time to hit other because it's embarrassing because it's like you're cheaping out. But when it starts at 25, you lost me. You lost me, and I'm hitting other, and I might even hit zero because I'm so insulted that your starting point was way too high.
Uber does that too now, though.
Yeah, but what would a cab driver have to do to deserve a 25% tip? No offense to cab drivers. You drove me there, and it was safe, and I respect that.
Go around the moon.
Yeah. Like, get me there in a minute and a half? Like, what? Like, go through lights? Like, what is it? What is the deal?
You'd have to teleport me to get me there, to get me to pay. See, I think even driving a cab, I don't think a cab, this is going to get me in trouble. I don't think that's an industry where the tipping should be on par with someone who serves you for 2 hours at a restaurant and gets you food and booze. Like those, like a server, I'm okay with you starting at 20% maybe. I don't love it, but I could deal with it. But a taxi driver, to me, should start around 12% and go to 15 tops, maybe 17, 18. It's just a different, I don't know.
I think that's fair. 25%. The lady that fixed my sciatica,
yeah,
that's 25%.
Yeah,
I'm good with that.
Yep.
Anything, but I've never got that about Vegas. The cab opened the door and says, Planet Hollywood or Caesar's Palace. I gotta tip that guy? No, what you didn't do. You're not driving me there. Then the other thing, get this one. The boy and I go to golf. It's a 30-minute drive. Uber. Get in this vehicle. Vegas, having fun. Coffee and Bailey's. Here we go. Me and the boy. I get in. It's just silent. The sound of the road. And I said, "Hey, do you mind putting on a radio station? I like listening to radio stations, and I'm in other places. Do you mind putting on a radio station or something?" He goes, "No." That was it.
What?
Yeah. It's like, so my son looks at me. So then I pull up a podcast. I start playing Scott Van Pelt in the back seat.
You don't have to. You don't have. You can hit zero on the tip because you're never going to get the same cabbie twice.
No, I know, and
he's not going to remember.
Part of the beauty of Uber, when it first started, I can tell you, I felt like I was one of the early adapters. I remember explaining to my friends on boys trips, no, we're going to try this Uber, and they're like, "What do you mean? What do you mean?" They come right to you, and then they take you right to where you want to go. It just sounded too perfect. And the beauty of Uber in its infancy, the drivers were really enthusiastic, and you found out about their whole lives. They couldn't stop talking. You found them interesting. They found you interesting, or at least they pretended to. And then there was no uncomfortable exchange of money at the end, which is still my favorite part of taking an Uber. On top of the fact that originally with Uber that you didn't tip. You just didn't tip. That was part of the deal. Well, now I get it. It's expected that you have to tip, and here we go again, right?
Or they don't give you any stars, and then nobody picks you up.
Well, that's an interesting. Yeah, I know. I always, whether I tip or not, or however much I tip, because usually you don't tip until you take your next Uber, right? That's when you see the note saying, "Hey, do you want to tip the guy who drove you
right now?"
3 weeks
Look
ago?
at this. That's what I'm doing right now. The last guy, I didn't tip. I'm going custom tip.
Yeah. And I always give them 5 stars, unless they're idiots. But, the stars to me is a bit of a tip anyway, because they're working on their rating.
But
I don't know.
if you don't give 5 stars now, then it gives you a laundry list of questions. You get interrogated. Why? What did they do? And I'm just
wow.
You know what? Screw it. I'm just going to give this guy 5 stars. Are you guys 5 stars? What's your rating?
I gotta look.
I just looked at mine. And I think I've gone up a...
I'm a 4.95. You probably went down, Barney, because you asked for music. That's egregious.
What a world. What a world, eh? We're doing circles around the moon. I can't get a radio station in my Uber.
Unbelievable. Hey, I have actually hockey news. We'll throw a little in just for the segment's sake. Ron Francis will be stepping down as president of hockey operations in Seattle. Just broke.
What?
Just broke it.
Did they say why?
Underachieving?
Well, I think it's, Jason Botterill's been elevated to general manager and is kind of basically running that show now anyway. I personally think director of hockey operations or president of hockey operations is the biggest joke in the business, and more teams are going away from it. They used to go to it. And I used to joke with Brian Burke all the time when he was president of hockey operations in Calgary. I'd say, man, this is the cushiest gig in the entire sports world. You would have to fire 2, maybe 3 general managers, maybe 4 coaches before anyone would finally trace it back to you and say, wait a second, maybe the president is the problem here. But that said, it hasn't. Look, Seattle came in as an expansion franchise. Everybody had high hopes for them, like Vegas did. Vegas went through the glass ceiling and defied all the odds and won a cup like 3 or 4 years later. And Seattle has had no success whatsoever. And this year there was a hint that they were maybe going to get into the playoffs, but that faded pretty quickly of late when it mattered most.
Yeah.
And so I think that that's probably the reason why they decided to go with an organizational change.
By the way, I'm 5 stars.
Yeah, I'm 4.79. I know one guy that gave me like a bad rating years ago.
Was the radio?
We almost had it out.
Really?
Yeah. No, it wasn't because of the radio, but that guy probably doesn't like me either.
I'm pretty impressed.
Speaking of hockey, let's stay with this. That loss last night for Oiler fans. Who's the starting goalie for the Oilers when the playoffs start?
Oh my God!
And why is it Calvin Pickard?
Yeah, could it be Calvin Pickard?
Who knows what they're going to do there? But you know what? I still don't worry about that team. I know everybody in Edmonton and most of the hockey world's kind of written them off. But we've been in this situation for so many years, and they still get to the final. I will not be surprised at all if they're in the final. I really won't.
What?
I really won't. They've been on a bit of a heater. I know they don't have a goalie, but these guys heat up from time to time. They haven't had a goalie for 5 years, and they made it to the final 2 years in a row. So, I know there's better teams than them. I know all those teams in the Central are way better. So it would be a long shot for sure. But all I'm saying is don't write off the Oilers just because nobody can stop the puck. They usually find ways to do it. They won 5 in a row recently without Leon Draisaitl. Zach Hyman's out of the lineup now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they're pretty undermanned, and they don't have a goalie. Add those 2 guys back in the lineup and get a hot goalie. And I'm telling you, the Edmonton Oilers can shock a lot of people. It won't surprise me.
They are in the pillow fight division, so they do have a chance coming out of there. Yeah.
Well, that loss last night, people are losing their mind, but I'm like, what's the big deal? They're still right there, I think, tied with Vegas for the lead of the division. You want to win the division, and I think they will. You'd like to get that extra point last night to give you that 1 point advantage over Vegas, but I don't know. I just think people are losing their minds a little too early on the Oilers.
One of the best wins I had in Vegas last week was when we were at the Flames Golden Knights game, and you told me to go downstairs and get that noodle bowl or whatever they were making in the media kitchen. It was so good. I'm glad I went all the way down. But back to that game, eyeball test on the Las Vegas Golden Knights, and I know it was a game against Calgary, end of the season. Yeah, they're a good hockey team. That Dorofeyev is a really good hockey player. But Carter Hart, man, if they're the guy they're riding, didn't at times he looked like shaky or uneasy or like he was an e-bug?
Well, yeah, I mean, was he a superstar in Philly? No. But, he's been a couple years away from hockey. This is a fresh new start. He's older, wiser. Like, I'm not convinced you want to go into the playoffs with him as your goalie either. We could have a pretty good argument on who's in a better situation for goaltenders, Vegas or Edmonton. Neither very good. But I think it's pretty clear that Tortorella is going to go with Carter Hart, and they're going to ride or die with him. Aiden Hill's been atrocious all year long, even though he's won a cup in the past. He's had a couple rough years. He's really just their only chance right now. So no, am I really overly impressed with him? No. But hey, one thing I was impressed with, Barney, did you notice the other night? Are you still there, guys?
Yeah.
yeah. Waiting.
We're here. Can you hear us? It's your technology always.
Yeah.
Wherever he lives in Calgary. Now he'd locked out. So now he's going to log back in.
There he is.
There he is.
There I am.
Yeah, someone called you.
Yeah, see? It was Ron Francis. He's like, hey, look, I didn't get fired. I stepped down. When I was a kid, Ron Francis, because of the last name, and I was a Hartford Whalers fan, I used to tell people he was my uncle. I'd never even met him, but I was so proud of him. He's my favorite player. I still think the world of him. I think he's
Uncle Ron.
a good guy. Yeah, Uncle Ronnie. But anyway, I don't know where I cut off, and it doesn't matter. But Carter Hart is going to be their guy. You know, one thing I was really blown away by, Barney. You tell me that game that you and I were at, they had that ice delay for 28 minutes.
Is that how long it was?
28 minutes, man. Like, only that rink, I think, could have maintained the
entertainment
excitement level from the the entertainment, the fans. By the time they dropped that puck, you'd have thought half the people would have left. Yes, it was a tie game, but it's still Calgary, and really it doesn't matter. But man, oh man, I couldn't believe how good a job they did keeping everyone entertained. And in the entertainment capital of the world, I shouldn't be surprised. No. But am I wrong, Barney? Like, the whole time, it was almost like, oh, we forgot that we're waiting for the game, you know?
It seemed so long, and the DJ and the young gal that was in the crowd did an unreal job. That sound system in that rink. Now, I've been to four or five games there. I love it. I think it's one of the best that I've ever been to. I haven't been to as many as you. I don't know. But there was times that, especially during that delay, you remember when your buddy in high school, he went to like Visions or Crazy Kylie's and bought the subs, and he didn't have the right sound system, but all he had was subs.
Yeah.
He didn't have, like, the treble was wrong and everything else. He had the Alpine amp under the Jimmy rigged under the seat. And it was like, dude, there's too much bass. That's what it felt like at times. There was too much bass. Our water was shaking.
Remember, I pointed out to you, look at the water. The water was rippling, and it was with every bass. The water was going a little bit closer to the edge of the table. It was unbelievable. You could feel it thumping in your chest, that's not for everybody.
Water? You guys didn't have any water.
We're in the media.
Oh, okay.
booth.
All right. Okay.
Yeah, we had to keep it clean for 3 hours. But no, that's a good call, actually. Good water in Vegas. That's funny.
I had
water in Vegas.
I took Vegas -1.5 at the book, and it was tied
That's
there
right.
it was tied there, and I was like, oh boy.
And what did I keep telling you? Don't worry, the Flames always get crushed here in Vegas. Don't worry, I've seen this 100 times.
Yeah.
Who's gonna win the Hart?
Oh my God. I don't know. It's a great question. I got to vote on it. And, Celebrini was a guy who I said, well, they're probably not going to make the playoffs, so at least I don't have to consider him. But if they make the playoffs, and it sure looks like they're going to, like, man, you've really got to consider Celebrini for what he's done to carry that team on his back. I think more so than anybody else. And remember, the Hart is the player. It's not the most valuable player. It's the player adjudicated to be the most valuable to his team. So, I always use this argument with Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl. There are a lot of years where my colleagues were putting both on the ballot because you get to put 5 names. I'm like, no, you can't, in my opinion, you can't put both on the ballot because you can't say both were most valuable to their team. Anyway, look, he's on an island there. Celebrini, I wasn't thinking I was going to have to consider him, but he's right up there. Like I've heard some other people talk about, some of these guys at Buffalo or I'm like, what are you talking about? It's a 3-horse race, right?
Who else you got in there?
McKinnon.
Well, McKinnon and McDavid, right? And Macklin Celebrini. To me, I mean, and don't get me wrong. There's other guys in there that deserve some talk, and I have to put 5 down. But I don't know. To me, it's either McKinnon or Celebrini. Myself.
You think San Jose is going to make it?
I do. They got a game in hand on pretty much everybody. They've got some momentum. They went into a little bit of a tailspin there about 2 weeks ago, and I thought, okay, they're done. But now he and Will Smith have combined to try and really resurrect their chances. And look, what a dogfight. Like, I don't ever want to hear anybody ever again say, we need to go to the 3 points for a win system, 2 points for an overtime win.
Yeah.
Like,
No.
I like incentivizing regulation wins, don't get me wrong. But the ultimate goal is to make sure that as many teams as possible have a chance right till the end. Like if you're the commissioner, that's your goal. As many teams as possible still selling tickets right to the end because they think they have a chance. Look at this incredible series of races we have in the East and the West. It doesn't get better than that.
Would you like to see them switch the playoffs up to a real 1 versus 8 to that scenario instead of what we've got now?
No, I like to stay in your division, develop these great rivalries inside your division, because every time Calgary plays anyone in their own division, they're hated already, and that's built in. If you only see a guy every 10 years or 5 years in the playoffs, that's where rivalries are built to me in the playoffs, and I just don't think you want random opponents.
I'm a 1 versus 8 guy.
I can flip-flop. Yeah.
Yeah, 1 versus 8 guy. All right, let's get down to brass tacks here. Last week, I'm in Vegas, and we're in Vegas, and we had a great time. Eric got a lanyard. He hung out with us, and he got to meet some Regina people. He had a great time. But there's this Artemis 2, and I'm like, ooh, NASA, they're going to space. Where's this going? Is this going to Mars? Like, they're finally going to Mars? And then it's like all this hype around it, and I get that there's a Canadian guy on it. I get that's proud for a lot of people. And then I find out that they're just doing a loop around the moon. They're going further, I guess, than whatever, and they're coming back. It's 2026, Eric. I've seen the movie Apollo 13. I've watched all the documentaries. That is by far the most fascinating, nerve-wracking moment, I think, in history. Not just space exploration.
Space exploration.
But I'm like, why should I care about? They're just going around the moon. They're not even landing on it. What's your take? I'm curious.
My wife's been going nuts. She thinks this is the greatest thing. She says they're doing a great job with their social media. Look at that Nutella floating through there. Love Nutella. But I'm kind of with you. Look, you got to remember they stopped doing kind of like space missions for a couple decades, didn't they? Like
but why? And then why are we all excited about it again?
Well, yeah. I mean, now it's at least back in the news, and they're doing it again. There's a testament. Their biggest mission right now is to stay alive, right? They want to make sure that this works, and then the next time they might stop at the moon for a little golf.
But they've already been there. It should work. It should work, shouldn't it?
They should. What's that?
It should work if they've already been there. Or have they?
I know. And look, I'm not saying this. I'm with you. I would expect a little more excitement than what we've seen from this little crew. But I'm just, my fascination with Apollo and the moon mission and all that was the golf. Alan Shepard hitting the golf ball, and like every golfer, he lied about how far it went, right? He said it went miles and miles. What a load of crap. I looked it up. I looked this up actually about a week ago because my wife she loves this stuff. He hit a 6-iron 40 yards. He hit 2 shots, Alan Shepard. The 6-iron, first one went 24 yards. Second one went 40 yards. That is humiliating. I don't care. I don't care what kind of headwind you're dealing with. I don't care about gravity. You can't hit a 6-iron longer than 24 yards. You shouldn't be on a space mission. That's my hot take.
There's no gravity. It should have went forever.
He shouldn't be on a space mission.
It should have went forever. No gravity.
That's right.
Yeah.
This guy should have stayed home and took some golf lessons. That's ridiculous. I'm embarrassed. They talk about how that was great for the game of golf, but then when you really dig into the analytics, it's embarrassing. So if they do send someone next time, it's my understanding Tiger Woods has a little time on his hands now. Maybe
Don't let him drive.
Tiger.
Don't let him drive.
Don't let him drive.
No, let him drive. That's what we need. That's the entertainment we need.
That's a good point. Let them drive, because then mistakenly they'll crash land on the moon. Hopefully not crash, but I'm using a Tiger term here. I would think that maybe he could steer them onto the moon, and then we'll have some real action. I'm with you. Then we got something to talk about.
Yeah.
No, because take a seat,
skid.
Moon. We've been there.
Yeah.
It's the 70s. And now people are excited about what your wife included, that we're going around it in 2026 and taking some pictures. Like at 2026, we should be going to Jupiter.
Yeah.
Saturn. What are those rings made of? Bring some of that back. That's impressive. The moon.
And can you play golf on Jupiter? Like, we need to know.
Yeah.
I don't
Butter
think so.
cuts. 6-iron butter cuts.
Yeah.
34 yards.
I'm going to take it around the first ring, and I'm going to butter fade it. Yeah. Oh, what a shot.
Okay,
I'd love it.
before we let you go, our NHL insider Eric Francis for Sports Select, but I'm looking up sportselect.com. I also know you're a golfer. You're getting ready for a trip to Ireland.
Nice.
Masters starts tomorrow. Let's be honest. It's the most popular time to get a vasectomy for obvious reasons. Masters weekend. Who do you like? I know who. I went heavy. I went to the window before I left yesterday. Man, I took a guy. Get this one. You'll like this story. I told Chunky this earlier. I went to the window. I took a guy, Sammy Valimaki. Never heard of him in my life, but I took him. He's Finnish, just because I'm like, doesn't this guy play in the NHL?
I thought he was a goalie for Phoenix.
Utah.
Yeah.
Valimaki, Yuso. I used to cover him in Calgary. He's a good dude, actually. He golfed. Maybe this is his uncle. That's funny.
And your Uncle Ron, will be there.
I got a lot of family playing in the or in the Masters, the NHL. So your hot take is Valimaki for the green jacket.
No. He's just I threw a hard flyer on him. To win, I think I got a lot of top 5 Finnish guys. I took Patrick Reed. I don't really like the guy, but I had to take him.
Dude, nobody likes the guy. I remember taking him in a Masters or US Open pool a couple of years ago, and my buddies gave me my money back. They said, honest to God, it was a really funny move. Not that I was going to win the pool anyway, but they're like, anybody who picks Patrick Reed is not welcome in our pool. So I'm going to throw that back at you and go, you know what? I hope you don't win that bet for sure, because that guy's not good.
I took Justin Rose, as a top 5. Plays well.
Second last
Fair
year,
bet.
yeah.
Matthew Fitzpatrick.
Yeah.
Robert McIntyre.
Yeah, he's hot.
And Corey Connors, top 5 finish. I took 2.
So you picked 10 guys to finish top 5. Guess what? The math doesn't work out there.
Hedge. I'm a hedge guy.
I got you. Shopley's finishing top 5 too. There's my hot tip. Okay. Shopley.
I can buy that. Yeah.
Okay.
I can buy that.
We get to chat again on Friday, I think.
Okay, boys.
Appreciate
Get
it.
him straight.
Take care,
Get
brother.
him straight.
All right.
Yeah.
On the moon.
Bye.
To the moon.
24 yards. NHL insider Eric Francis.